All right, so we're back. Sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties and had to restart the computer. We've got the doctor and Pele are in the house, and hopefully Sam will be back in a second. I already emailed him the link.
Okay, hold on. Taking my pants off again. All right.
Oh, nice.
Woo! Okay. All right, we're good.
Yep, so we're live. I think the doctor's going to tweet out the link again. So, when we're talking about collecting on a budget, I didn't only mean like budget collecting. Everyone has their own different budget. So, Pele, what do you look for exactly nowadays? I know you have a large collection of your own, but you also look for things for your store. Like, are you mostly looking for auctions, or what are your choice spots?
We have as far as buying goes, I've got a lot of people to sell. So, got a lot of customers that come in and bring in their collections to sell. We have one thing that seems to be going on lately is these traveling salesmen that are going around in vans from shop to shop, and they've got moving collections, and they're selling, they'll bring out their long boxes and stuff, and traveling salesmen, and you pick out, of their books, and you haggle and you buy. Or you don't buy. Some of their prices are pretty high. But as far as auctions are concerned, Bronze Age keys, mid to high grade, are selling really well right now. I was going to one good pick that I've for a good price that I'm going to recommend is Marvel's Greatest Comics number 35 and 36. Which the Silver Surfer, the iconic Silver Surfer Galactus Fantastic Four, the reprints of Fantastic Four 48, 49, and 50. Oh. And I recommend those strongly because those books, of course, spiraled out of where most people are going to be comfortable buying. Now, even in low grade, those books go for $250, $300, $400. So, but Marvel's Greatest Comics 35 and 36 and 37, you can still get those $15, $20, $25, sometimes really, really nice condition. And those are really, really getting hot right now because people want those books. And, but yeah, those sell like hotcakes at the shop. Every time I can get them, I find them on eBay. I find them on the other auction sites and grab them and then sell them at the shop. But strong recommended buy on those. It's just like having the original comics, the artwork, the ads are different, but the it's like it's all presented the same way. The panel orders are the same. So yeah, really strong buy on those. Let's see here. Of course, Amazing Spider-Man early McFarlane runs. 300, of course, has gone through the roof, but you could still get a lot of the early 300s, pretty good pricing. If you're diligent and you keep an eye out, because those I think are really undervalued right now. I know they had high print runs, but there's a lot of Spider-Man fans out there. So, were you going to say something, Doc?
Oh no, I was going to say I agree. I've been picking up. Let's see. I'm looking at pretty much anything from 301 to. I've been picking up multiples of anything from about 301 through about 325, which I think was the end of his run.
Right.
I haven't picked up any multiples of 298 and 299. Which maybe I should, because they kind of get forgotten. They're not very iconic Spider-Man covers.
Yeah, I mean, they're nice. They've got Chance. I think those are the covers with Chance on them.
I believe so. Yeah.
Where he's got the guy with the rocket pack, he's blasting everything. the beautiful covers, they're just not like 300. But and they are early Venom cameos. So those are I think undervalued also for what they are. So in high grade, those are going to be really good buys. So if you find them for at book value or below book value, then yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering about what to look for as far as book values are concerned, Comic Book Realm, it's kind of like an amalgam of Comic Book Realm, and then look at comicspriceguide.com. And Go Collect is good for what's hot running right now. The Overstreet, unfortunately, Overstreet's annual, it doesn't keep up with the current market very well. But it can be a good idea for older comic books, Golden Age, some Silver Age books, to give you an idea of value. But
I play around with a little bit, but don't use it super often. Key Collector.
Yeah.
It's a relatively useful, I use the app, and I don't do the paid version. So it's just, I just get their free stuff, but getting, whenever they do add some books that are hot, because, nobody keeps track of the whole industry.
Right. Right.
I mean,
we try,
but we miss shit. So that's somewhat useful, having that kind of as crowdsourced. I've actually been, now I keep seeing, now I don't know if this is something you guys have noticed, but I keep seeing, every time somebody starts talking about their stores and this and that, I don't know if you guys, did you see this the other day where somebody posted of a photo of this really kind of dingy looking comic shop, and it looked like it was an industrial area that was beat to shit. You know what? I don't care what anybody says. You can stick your shop in a high-end mall with great foot traffic. I love that little dirty, beat down shop. I will always find good shit there.
Yeah.
They had like Batman logos painted from like the 60s or something. They're all weathered
Hell
off.
yeah.
Under some railroad tracks.
Exactly.
Yeah, they can shame that store all day long, but that's the store I'm looking for when I'm buying.
What's that YouTube channel, Comic Book Palace? That's got that that guy from New Jersey. It's like, love him or hate him, he can be pretty funny. But he's got that little shop, and it looks kind of dingy inside, and it looks like it looks like he's got posters from the 80s still on the walls. And but that's where you're going to find a lot of honey. Those are honey holes, because they're those old dollar bin, 50-cent bins. You're going to find stuff that's good mid-grade stuff from the Bronze, Silver Age. That's the good stuff. I'm hearing an echo there.
Yeah, Sam just.
That's me.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I was listening to y'all on my tablet and trying to keep up while restarting my phone. So yeah, I want to still be part of the conversation, but I got it turned down now.
So you were asking about a price check on something. Did that actually happen on the channel?
Yeah. Yeah, was that Stan Lee's Origins and Son of Origins?
Yeah, those from the 70s. It's a reprint. It's a reprint one shot of a lot of the Origins, some of the characters. Those sell, very rarely come up for sale. But yeah, they do sell pretty well when they do.
I got this guy in the summer. His name's Robert C. Byrd, not the governor. Right?
I was gonna say.
Lord.
Yeah, so I live in West Virginia. The guy got out of a ticket one time. It got pulled over, and the guy said, "Oh, I didn't see that this was you, Governor Byrd." And he let him off the ticket, and he didn't say anything. He didn't look nothing like the guy. But this guy,
oh man,
this guy's awesome. He's probably been in y'all shops before. He goes up and down the coast, and he's in real good with some shops. They'll let him get a long box of comics out of their back issues for like $40, and then he takes those and sells them on eBay, and he can get you just about anything. But I buy so much stuff off of him. He sells it to me for what he has in it, and he sold me that Son of Origins for $25. He's also the one that I got those sweet Spider-Man McFarlane covers off of for a really good price. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of stuff from this guy. So if y'all ever there's something you're looking for, send me a message and I'll ask him about it.
As far as for the listeners here, one of the recommendations is that buying graded books is fine and all if that's your thing, but you're going to pay the premium. What I recommend is to get the Overstreet's Guide to Grading Comics and learn what the comic grades are, learn how to get a good idea of how to grade comics, and then look at the raw books that are on the auction sites and look at the auctions that are ending. And what is that noise? Somebody is like crackling. And, okay. But and look at the raw books that are for sale. You know, that's really the best way to go as far as if you really want to collect on a budget and you want to get some really nice keys for a good price, because a lot of people don't know how to grade. They don't know what they're looking at, and they're gonna pass. They're gonna say, "Well, I really don't know how good a condition this is, so I'm gonna leave it alone." And that's where your opportunities are. So,
oh yeah,
that's where the opportunity is. But it does take work. You're gonna have to figure out, what's the difference between a fine and a very fine and a near mint comic. But once you do get that down, then that's when you're going to be able to start. Even if you're not into turning a profit on your books, you're still going to get better value for your money and get more keys for the same amount of money. So,
yeah, I spent a good number of years relearning my grading skills, and I generally am within a half a grade or one way or another on virtually everything I look at. I think the last time I was off on something was when I bought a second copy of Uncanny 94, and I slightly overgraded it. But I was doing it just from photos too. So
it's
sometimes a crapshoot.
Yeah, it's a science. There's definitely something there as far as, because what a lot of people do is they're looking for investment grade books. They're going to be buying graded books.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are looking for, okay, well, I've got X amount of money to put back, and I want to put it into I want to put it into a no interest investment vehicle, and comics are really good for that. So you can put you can hide a lot of money in comics as far as that's concerned, because it's a robust market. And but where you can take advantage of that, of course, is you learn your grades, you buy raw, you clean the books up yourself, and then you submit them, get them graded, and then you're selling to those guys who are looking for those good investment books. So that's people make a living at that. I do it every day. So
my assumption is this is only single issues, right? The trades don't work like this, correct?
No.
Some trades, some
out of print stuff.
The old, the Marvel, like the Marvel trade or early Marvel trade paperbacks are really very collectible. The New Mutants, I think it was Marvel graphic novel number 4, the first appearance of the New Mutants. All of that run of the original Marvel graphic novels are extremely hot. Death of Captain Marvel, I think, was number 1.
Yeah.
Death of Captain Marvel. that book is shot through the ceiling.
I'd buy a
as far
new
as
one that came
value.
out today. Death of
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, if it came out today, a brand new one, I'd buy it.
Yeah, Death of Carol Danvers. Sure, absolutely.
I love that stuff.
Yes, sadly, I think it'd be a lot of people just hoping for torture porn.
Yeah, black bag and all.
Yes.
So this is a little bit off topic, but I'll shoot it over to you, Pele's, your retailer. Do you think that placing every single thing that gets published these days in a trade, that dilutes the market? Like, what's the point of all that? Like, why is everything, even the really objectively shit books, why are they still being collected? Like, it makes no sense to me.
Why are the trades being collected? Why are the comics being collected into trades?
Not only the good stuff. The good stuff should be put into trades because it's valuable. But why are they putting everything in it? It just devalues all the stuff that should be there, right?
Well, the thing is that a lot of libraries and a lot of institutions, schools, stuff like that, they will buy the trades, and a lot of the SJWs write their books for just specifically for that in mind. Because they've got ends as far as libraries that, like, take Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl only sells about 8,000 copies. It'll distribute about 10,000, sells about 8. Probably only 4,000 people in the shops are actually buying the books. But a lot of the Scholastic Press, a lot of the, those places are crazy for those things, and they think, oh, it's a young kid's book, we're going to buy that, put it in the library, and that's what they're relying on. So that's why they're doing it.
I thought there were no margins on that, though. I thought they got like a steep discount for those type of purchases.
Yeah, they're basically living on pennies.
Well,
pennies on the dollar.
One of the other reasons that they've been doing it is because the sales tail on these books, on the single issues, are fucking terrible. There's not really, somebody misses one issue, and instead of going and buying it, I mean, they'll just skip and wait on the trade. Additionally, they're barely making any money on the front end. Back in the day, the residual rates, because trades were so rare, the residual rates that creators got were absurd. That's the reason why Claremont has basically been able to sit on his couch for the past 15 years and just teach a class at NYU, because the little bit of everything that they collect that has his name on it from back in the day, he still gets the rate that he signed that contract at, that they were going to pay him residual wise, which is probably 10 to 15 times what current creators are making on residuals. And so as it stands right now, the creators are barely making anything on their page rates, and the little bit of residuals is basically just pennies per month for them. But for the publishers, because the residual rates are so low, but for the publishers, the books themselves, the singles, aren't selling well. They're not making a lot of money, even with cutting cost. They're not selling very well. So now you have a book that you don't have to, whenever you collect it now, you don't have to pay another page rate. You have something else to stick on the shelf. You have a higher price point thing to stick on the shelf that most of the original costs were already covered. And you're not paying a very big residual rate to creators. So if those, if a Marvel or DC or Image trade is, $15 or $20, $14.99, $19.99, $16.99, something like that, they're paying maybe $1 or $1.50 out of that in all of the residuals total to the creators.
Well, it's like there's very few creators right now that are getting decent residual rates. Donnie Cates is getting good money right now for his writing. As far as that's concerned, Murphy, Bendis, God, even though he's got Superman bent over a barrel and fucking him in the ass, he is making huge amounts of money on the residuals for that. He's got a strong contract, but all the rest, almost everybody else is just barely scraping to get by, and that's the reality of being a creator right now with the big two.
It's even worse, I guess, at Image. When I was hearing Donald DeLay explain, like, he didn't get paid for his little run on Book of Love or whatever it was called. The only hope for Death of Love. His only hope to actually make money was that the trade would sell, because that was the only way he was actually going to get paid anything, I guess, on the very back end.
Right.
It doesn't really make sense.
And he already said that the ones that he was selling through his affiliate link have made him more than every other copy that was sold in the direct market.
Right.
He's made more money through his affiliate link than he made otherwise.
Well, you'll notice too, that's the reason why Image Comics, usually you don't see a series run beyond 4 or 5 issues, because they'll pay them for the first issue, then less for the second, then less for the third, and by the time the 4th issue comes out, they're not getting paid at all.
It's free.
So unless it's on the back end, like a trade paperback sale or something like that. So it's a sad state, but they've kind of made their own bed on that by shitting on the fans and and actually whittling down the direct market.
Well, and they're not picking the best projects. I think Image goes out of their way not to pick the best projects.
I think that had a lot to do with David Brothers when he was still there, and a lot of the leftovers from him, because Comics Alliance alumni kind of ruin everything they ever touch.
They do. If you look at like Andrew Huerta's thing he's doing on Indiegogo, he offered that to Image, and you're like, why wouldn't they produce this? This is like cutting edge. The art is amazing. It's different than almost anything out on the market today. But they're publishing Man-Eaters and Death of Love.
It's scary. They don't know what to do with that. Honestly, I don't think anybody in Image's marketing department would know how to sell a book like like Sovereign. I don't think they know how to even advertise it.
All you have to do is put the cover.
I know.
It's really cool. And you look at it and you're like, oh, let me grab that. And then you open it up, you're like, oh, the interior's better.
Yeah.
Oh, I should take this to the counter.
Hey, dude, I'm not seeing your stream showing up on YouTube.
No?
No, we're still there.
I mean, I'm in the chat right now. We got Star TG.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay.
Roy
Yeah, that's my fault.
Stalin.
That was my fault. I was making sure. I was like, holy crap, what's going on?
I got another observation for trades and why they're publishing so many. Like, people like me benefit from the trades because I don't have a local comic shop. So if I can go to my local Books A Million, and they got every trade you can think of, even current stuff.
So it's wider distribution.
Yeah. And even FYE carries trade paperbacks, so you got that too. Where like, Books A Million, they got rid of their floppies. They don't completely got rid of them.
That's my kind of one of my points is they're oversaturating the market. Like I said earlier, they're bringing the signal to noise so high. Like a book like Thanos that Donnie Cates did, where he did the last, I believe, 6 issues. That's amazing. People should know that book is great. It shouldn't be sitting next to like the relaunch of Fantastic Four because it sucks balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh,
yeah. I mean, back in the day, like, whenever you saw series or a little event or a run get collected, that meant, oh shit, that did really well.
Yeah, it's like a stamp of approval that this is what we want people to know that we're about.
Yeah, it's like a greatest hits. Their trade should be a greatest hits album, not a selection of B-sides.
Yeah, it should be an acknowledgement that you wrote something that's above your peers and deserves to be distributed even better and in a new way. And, you know, even have some extras on there for people that really want to read maybe how the book was put into production, you know, when was the idea thought of, how was it pitched, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they just diluted it all because I guess for like a quick buck, because if you look at the graphic market or the graphic novel numbers, it's dropping way harder than the actual floppies themselves.
Because nobody knows what's good anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Because they're not cheap. You know, you spend $20 on a Marvel trade and you're like, wow, this Fantastic Four is really dog shit. Why would they release this? So next time you see Marvel on a trade, you're like, I don't know about that one. You move on.
Yeah, well, you've got the Knoxville County Library that I work with them sometimes collecting graphic novels and stuff like that for them, and they buy the trades. They'll buy like of every Marvel trade that comes out just for the county library system. Every Marvel trade that comes out, they'll buy 6 to 10 copies of it. And so if they're doing that, then I know that Raleigh's doing that, Charlotte's doing that, Atlanta's buying even more than that. Mm-hmm. You've got all the major city library systems that are buying all the Marvel and DC. Now they're paying a lot less, hell of a lot less for them. Yeah. But it's still, it's still profitable. So, you've got a trade then that will run 15, 20, 25,000 copies dating Marvel, and these are reprints, maybe original art, slap it on the cover. And, you've got a reprint then that's making them 100 to 150 grand per graphic novel.
Am I the only one that thinks that libraries are going to be extinct in like 10 years for the most part?
Well, print is, I don't know. I work in the school system, and on my badge, I keep a thumb drive that's got my lesson plans and stuff on it. And I had a kid Thursday asked me what that thing was. I'm like, a thumb drive is now outdated. So, I just think, that's, it's digital, but it's a physical digital. Mm-hmm. So you take that and you take libraries, like you say, the rumors that the new Xbox is going to be discless. I don't know, man. I don't like how that's going.
Well, they tried to, they've been trying to eliminate physical media for a very, very long time.
Yeah, they have.
And it's because they don't want you to actually possess things. They want to license it to you indefinitely.
Yeah, they don't want you to physically own it. They want you to come to them for your digital copies, and if they want to suspend your license, they can just take it away from you.
Yeah, that's why I won't buy anything now. Once I realize like all this stuff I'm buying doesn't belong to me, and I have to keep using their operating software and using their products to access it, I was like, no, I'm done with Apple. These guys are assholes.
Well, you can as long as you've downloaded like for instance, if you buy something from like iTunes, as long as you download it and store it locally. And this is the thing with any sort of digital distribution. You're not paying for you're paying for them to essentially host it for you. Right. And for them to have it there, it'd be like to play library for you. It'd be like if I, pay, like if I went and bought I sent you money every month for my pull list, but I made you keep it. I'd walk in, I'd grab it, read it, hand it back to you. You put it in the back. You're
Right.
playing warehouse for me essentially at that point.
Yeah, but then
if you
if you stopped paying the money for it and you couldn't hold it anymore, then your book disappeared.
yes,
Yeah, then I'll
but
sell
if
it.
but if you, yes, but if you take it home and store it in your house, he can't come and get it
Right.
and sell it from you. The same thing with any sort of other digital. So, I hate comicsology. I hate fucking digital comics. They drive me up the wall. They're terrible to read. I don't like the form factor. But the problem you have is nobody wants to store their comics locally. So you buy a book through Comixology or whatever, you run out of space on your tablet really, really fast whenever you're downloading, when you're buying comics. Most of what you're paying for is for Amazon to send it to you as you want to read it. But if you're willing to spend the money to have some sort of home or networked, your own personal storage or personal cloud based device, then yeah, buy it all you want. Just make sure you store it locally.
You were talking about shitty digital comics, stuff like that. One of the things that I found that improved that was I bought a Samsung Chromebook that has that does the it's basically the tablet Chromebook. You can fold it in half and you've got like a big tablet. It's a 13-incher and turn it up vertically to read my comics, and launch the Android app for Comixology or the Marvel the Marvel Unlimited, and it's a really good experience. It's better than like the regular iPad. It's much larger. You got more real estate, and you've got SD card slots, so you can store. You can, if you download your comics in PDF, because you get an option once you buy the comics, you can download the PDF. So even though it's a DRM PDF, you can still have a local copy of it. So I just get my 256 gig micro SDs and just fill them up. So that's an option there, but it's not, in my opinion, not as good as physical. Physical floppies, but
because
if you absolutely have to go digital, then that's probably the best way to do it, is to store them up in your micro SD slots and cards.
Okay, because I like my iPad and everything, but I hate the giant iPads, so I want to be able to carry it. So I still have like an iPad Mini 4, which I love. I can stick it in my back pocket if I want. Right. But I mostly, if I'm reading, it's for reading a book, like a book when I'm on an airplane or traveling somewhere, sitting in a waiting room. But reading a comic on that is not fun at all.
No, it's not a good experience. It's not a proper experience either. That's not the way that the artist. You can't enjoy a comic really on a 6-inch screen. That's not where the artist intended this.
Especially if you get those where the whole thing takes up 2 pages.
Double page splash.
Yeah. That's even hard on like a regular iPad to look at.
Well, I mean, when's the last time that somebody did a double page splash that was actually cool looking?
I did a review on Star Wars, and it has an absolutely awesome double page splash of a space battle above a planet. The rest of the book sucked, but that was cool. But so
you're talking about the double page splash, Immortal Hulk #8. In that we were talking about with the jars and everything like that exploding, that splash page is amazing. But
all right.
So at my house, I have limited spaces actually where I keep all my comic books in this shelf here and up above the screen here. So I actually have to buy a lot of stuff on digital, and I read it on this little tablet here. It's not too bad, especially with Comixology, because you can go like go into the actual panels. So it makes it a little bit better, but it's definitely not the same as reading it physically. It feels better in the hand. It's especially anything black and white just looks way better on the physical copies. It doesn't look nearly as good on the digital, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've come out with some really good OLED readers now as far as tablets.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one, it's like a 12.1 inch OLED tablet. I think it was made by LG, and very sharp blacks. It would be a good experience as far as reading comics if that's what you had to do. But you really can't. You really have to be pretty selective about the device and what its capabilities are. If you're gonna go that route and get the most out of digital.
Well, let's get back on task with actually talking about collecting with budgets and stuff. And I know it's winter time, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It's winter time in the U.S. So I know Sam's big season is the summer season when you got garage sales and normally
man.
He's got a couple pages. He's collecting Iron Man and he's got it all marked off. It's always posting on Twitter, and I think Fantastic Four is normally on there. What were your big scores this last summer on your garage sale, and what books did you find that you were shocked, and what kind of value did you get out of it?
Let's see. Summer before last, I got Apocalypse, Jubilee, and Bishop's first appearances for $1.
Nice. That's what we're talking about.
And they were in great condition too. And I was like, whoa. Yeah, those were my 3 keys that I got.
Like 8-point condition or not that good?
7. About 7.
Still awesome.
But when it comes to like Iron Man, I'll buy anything. Like I got a number 3 that's probably like a 4, and I probably paid $1 for it. So yeah. And you name it, I found it. Now I don't got any like really awesome stuff, like Wolverine's first appearance or something like that. I think that's in Hulk number
181.
What is that? 181. Yeah. I still hope to find it one day. You never know with some of the stuff I found.
People that follow my Twitter at the it wasn't Salvation Army. It's
Goodwill.
I found a Hulk 181. Found a Hulk 18. I found the whole Hulk series actually from 160 to 195 or something like that. All at Goodwill in a box, and it wasn't. It's only mid grade, but still, oh my God, I freaked out. And,
a mid-grade still a $2,000 book at this point.
I know. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit. And I grabbed the box immediately. I stared at it for like a few seconds, and I'm flipping through the comics. And I'm like, oh my, this can't be real. This can't be real. And I'm like, because I go there every Friday just to look through their comics, and sometimes I find some interesting stuff somebody's brought in. But that was the Holy Grail. Grabbed it up, took it to the counter, and I was so excited. The girls like, "Oh, did you find some good ones?" I said, I was just kind of like, yeah, it was great, no problem. How many are there? So I'm like, I go through it. I'm like, they're 25 cents a piece. So 25 cents a piece, and so I just threw her like $40. And I was like, keep the change. I walked out. I walked out of the store, and and I got them back to the shop. And I was looking through them, and had them all lined up and looking through them and everything like that. And the shop employees like, oh man, did somebody bring those in? No, I got them at Goodwill. Like, wow, what the hell? And then it struck me. I was like, I've kind of felt bad that I hadn't ripped off of Goodwill, but I was like, oh man, they're a charity,
Yeah.
So I kind of felt bad. I kind of felt bad at that point. So after I got everything bagged and boarded and everything, customers, by the way, were already trying to buy 180, 181, 182. And I'm like, they're not for sale yet. I'm going to clean them and press them, and I may submit them to CGC. You know, we're going to see what the hell's going on first. So put them back in the office, and on the way home later, swung by Goodwill before they closed, and she's like, yeah, you tore out of here. I didn't get to give you your change back. And I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know, I reached in. I had like $300 in cash in my wallet, so I just pulled that out and I handed it to him. I said, I want to make a donation. Here you go. She's like, okay. What's going on? It's like, well, the books were worth a lot of money. She goes, a lot of money? I said, a lot of money. She goes, like $100? I said, thousands of dollars. And she just looked at me, her jaws almost hitting the counter. And I said, this is all the cash I got on me, but you know, here you go. You guys have a good day. And she's like staring there. She's like staring at me, holding the money, because I guess she doesn't get that. It happened very often.
Yeah.
And but yeah, go to Goodwill, go to your Salvation Army. A lot of those places are really savvy now. They have price guides on hand. Mm-hmm. But those small town Goodwills, you know, because that's mine. Because I don't live in Knoxville. I live adjacent in that area. But that's where, you know, those small town Goodwills, stuff like that. That's where it's at. So just be patient. You know, if you're on an extreme budget.
I'm in a small town, and I haven't actually checked mine out. So I need to do that. Man.
You could have been shopping at Goodwill every weekend during the winter.
Yeah, I got a Salvation Army and a Goodwill.
Swing by in there.
I'm going to go check them out this weekend.
Absolutely.
That $300, you only did that so you could sleep at night.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's thinking, you know, they feed the hungry. You know, they feed the hungry. They you know, they have like a blanket program for people that, you know, and trying to pay, and they also have a fund for trying to pay people's electric bills during the winter. You know, and I was like, yeah, you know, I can do better. I can do better than that as a person.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and you got to figure at least, you know, you made out okay on the deal, but they also got a much bigger donation than they ever would have gotten from most other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
They weren't going to look through them and find out that there was gold in their boxes.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
They put it out without even checking it first. So they weren't going to come back in a month or so and be like, oh, well, let me see if there's any value in these comics that are still sitting here a month later.
Well, what was interesting was in that box, there was like brochures for the Navy. There were like little stickers and stuff like that. There were like military stickers and things. So it's probably somebody's comic books that the kid went to the military and left his comics at home, and his parents just decided we're getting rid of this stuff, and they took it to Goodwill. So you know, so somebody lost their comic collection, which bums me out. But you know, at least it will go to good homes now, and that Goodwill got some money out of it. But because it wasn't just Incredible Hulks either. It was, you know, it was like one of those fruit boxes, crates, like stuffed with 20, 25 cent, 30 cent comics. So, you know, that whole box together was probably, you know, none of it was high grade. It was all low and mid grade. But, you know, the box altogether was probably around $4,000, $4,500.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
You know,
so,
pretty good deal.
So, Doctor, you're your own type of collector. You're not so much on the budget, you know, looking for the diamonds in the rough. You're more of
we all are.
A higher end kind of guy. Well, yeah, but you're a higher end kind of guy. I've seen your man cave. You got a wall of bricks of graded comics of your personal favorites. Like, so what are some of the things that you had to learn along the way to get the best values, to find things, maybe a little bit of, below the top price? Like, did you have to become a better buyer yourself along the way?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, between being able to grade relatively accurate, and just being willing to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
I sat there. I wanted a Hulk 181 for a long time, and the price kept going up and up and up. But I still did it. I wasn't going to pull the trigger on a book at tomorrow's price today.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I ended up spending more than I would have. I mean, if I would have bought one when I first decided I wanted to, yeah, it would have been, I probably would have bought one for $250 that was about the same grade as the one I bought for a couple $100 many years later. But honestly, outside of that one, I picked up my giant sized X-Men #1 when the market tanked in about 2000, when everybody was kind of getting out. 2000, 2001, I think I paid $70 for it. But I do.
Is that your favorite?
No, actually, probably my. I'd say the Hulk 181 is probably my. Fun. Yeah, and after that, I think X-Men 2. I'm still missing a 1. I still need to find a 1. I'll eventually find one at the price that I'm willing to pay for the market then. But I also learned to look in places where other people don't. Half price books is okay. Flea markets, as everybody else says, yard sales. I'll look around for stuff. I found let's see, in the past 5 years, I've only had like 3 big scores, but I found a second copy of New Mutants 98 for $1. Batman Adventures 12 in a lot of books for $10 that had like 20 books for $10. And I've paid 50 cents for a copy of Secret Wars 8 and another 50 cents for Amazing 252. So, there, first of the black costume. So you can find a lot of the copper gems in, because you had that period where everything was selling and selling and selling in the 90s, and then the market tanked, and then comics started selling well again in the early to mid 2000s, but a lot of the back issues that were, everybody kind of looked at it as it was overproduced back in the 80s and 90s, so it's not worth anything now. And it stayed in dollar bins, the same way that we were talking about Spawn earlier, Turok earlier, Rye #0, all of those books that just sat there for years in dollar bins. They're still there because the stores bought them up in bulk collection buys in the early to mid 2000s for pennies on the dollar, and then they just stuffed them in a warehouse. And they don't have time, to go through the 700 long boxes they got sitting in the basement or somewhere of their store somewhere. They'll flip through them, but they miss a lot of stuff too. I picked up an NYX3 out of out of a dollar bin at a convention relatively recently.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It was 50 cents. I mixed it in with a bunch of the other books that I was buying. I found a bunch of other stuff in there.
I don't want this guy to notice this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the minute that he sees it, what's he going to do? He can tell me go fuck myself, but guess what? He just saved himself losing $400.
Right.
So in the Startager is saying that his holy grail is Action Comics 252. I believe the first appearance of Supergirl. So what's is it an upmarket on that? Would this be a good time to go in for that, Pele?
I think so. Until we're going to see at some point in the DC universe, we're going to see Supergirl hit the big screen again. And I say again because she already did once long ago, and it was okay. I thought it was good for what it was. But yeah, I think that's a good buy, especially in like mid grade. I think the high grade copies of that are getting a little bit crazy for what they are. But mid grade, low grade copies, yeah, I think that's a really smart buy right now. I'd put that in the top 50 books.
Okay, so now's a good time. So what should a mid grade on a book like that go? In your opinion?
Let me see. Let me look at my tracking results on that of what we've sold it for. Let's see.
I think it's crazy what Deadpool's first appearance is going for now. When you used to be able to find it and for like $5 easy.
Like a couple hundred now.
Yeah, because of the movies.
Yeah, I'm seeing it track right now. The last one we sold was a 3.5, and we sold it for $1,640.
That's
$1,640.
Wow.
But about $1,640 was the last one we sold as 3.5.
What comic was it?
5 years ago, huh?
What comic was it? The one that you sold for 16. Wow.
Now we sold a 7.5 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, for $9,800.
All right, so I'm going to say that Startager is going to be depressed and disappointed to hear those
but here we go. You can if he wants to save, and I've seen these. If he wants to save his dollars together, and this is the way to do this. Save his money till he gets about $1,000, about $1,100, and buy a good 2.0 copy. Like a PGX. I don't really recommend PGX, but it's a good way to get cheaper graded books. Buy a 2.0, then a year later, 18 months later, flip that 2.0 and get a 2.5 or 3.0 and just keep working up and keep working up. And that's the way people build big, beautiful collections. They don't have the money to spend it all overnight, but it's a process. It's a process of upgrading and looking for opportunities. And I've got whales at my shop that just throw money at shit. That they'll pay $35,000 for a $40,000 for a Hulk 181 in 9.8. Not that I have one for sale, but wish I did. But they do. There are people like that exist, but it's not. But that's very few. That's very few and far between. Most of the people. Hold on a moment.
Oh, while he's doing that, I did pick up a couple of other really good issues for $1 at the flea market this year. I got Rogue's first appearance, and when she took Captain Marvel's powers, and when Captain Marvel got her powers back.
Nice.
I ought to put them up on eBay. Seriously.
Yeah, because that movie's taken off. Apparently, it's going to have a $160 million opening.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's
a
rumor.
That's kind of like with Titanic. The fans are going to go back and watch it 4 or 5 times just and the non-fans.
So, Doctor, do you have that book?
Let's see. You have, what would that have been? Avengers Annual 10 and
Testing.
I think it
You
was.
guys hear me again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
Sorry, I had somebody running the vacuum cleaner. I told
No,
them not to run the vacuum cleaner.
what was the first rogue? Was it Avengers Annual 10?
Avengers Annual number 10. I've got it right here in front of me. Actually, that's a book that I was going to recommend for today.
All right, so Sam got one for $1 at a flea market. Did he get a good deal?
Yeah, you got a great deal. Depending on grade, even a 1.0, is worth $1. So yeah. I mean, near mint, I think we sell them for $80.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a solid, very solid deal.
This one's probably about a 6 or a 7.
What you pay $1? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get $50 out of that without really breaking a sweat.
Wow. Yeah, I need to go and put that up.
Maybe. I see a lot of them on eBay in the mid range, so probably about 40.
Yeah.
But
I'll sell it for 35 and undercut everybody.
Yeah, put it on Instagram. Put it on Instagram, $35 plus shipping. You'll sell it. You'll sell it quick.
That is something to talk about. Instagram buying. That's really starting to take off for finding relatively decent priced stuff and relatively, there's a lot of it out there. And
until Instagram figures out how to monetize that shit.
Exactly. eBay, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium on eBay just because people want to cover their eBay fees.
Exactly.
But Instagram, and PayPal fees. And now they only really got to care about their PayPal fees they only really got to care about their PayPal fees on Instagram. So I've bought a couple of books off Instagram. I'm still a little skeptical of it because it's kind of old eBay, like Wild Wild West kind of eBay where you might buy that and you might get fucked, but you also might make a great deal.
Yeah, you have to look for the people that have big followings, that have a track record for selling. You can see from their past sales. This isn't somebody that just came on Instagram and decided to sell something. And of course the risk is going to go up. The reward dealing with a lesser known seller, you're going to get a better price than a better known seller, but you are taking that risk. So
yeah.
I've been screwed. I'm sure everybody here has been screwed with the deal online. So,
yeah.
I got a really bad one. My wife collected those Living Dead dolls, and we had one that was worth $500, and we sold it, and the guy waited forever to ask for a return, and I went on let him do it. And he returned me the box. He put a $20 doll in its place. And eBay pretty much told me I had to go to his police department. I was like, what? That was a major ripoff on that one.
Yeah. That's why I do not sell high dollar books on eBay. I just refuse. If it's over $100, I'm not selling it on eBay. It's got to be through the shop, physical sales. In-person sales, it's just not, PayPal has done a lot better as far as covering sellers than they used to, but, you can still get it, high and hard dry, if you don't watch yourself. So,
yeah.
So what do you guys think about comic auctions on YouTube? It was just brought up in the chats. Is that a good place to look, or have any of you looked at that?
I have not done one at this point yet. I haven't even contemplated one. I know that some of the Comicsgate guys have been doing their art auctions that, hey, that's cool. You're dealing directly with the artist.
The Lords of the Long Boxes, they do their auctions, and I have bought through them, and it's been a really good experience. They're usually at least as good as what they claim their grade is, and the prices are excellent typically. I recommend them as long as you're dealing with the experienced sellers through them. I had heard some people complain about sometimes some guy will come on with a bunch of comics to sell, and he's not been thoroughly vetted by the long boxes guys, and that people have been screwed. But as long as you're buying through them, or you're buying through Alex the Comic Hoarder, he's another really good example. He's a good guy to buy from. You're not going to make huge amounts of money if you try to flip from buying from those guys, because they're not wholesalers. But for filling out your own collection, it's a good thing.
So it's more for a collector than someone that's also trying to sell them as well.
Right. Exactly. Which, I don't recommend that anybody, unless it's your business for doing it, you're ready to devote your life basically to it as a means of making an income. You're not going to make enough off just flipping comics to pay your rent and stuff like that. You're going to have to work it like a real job.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's going to take your full focus.
Yeah. I've, from time to time, you might get lucky with it, but you're looking, okay, you'll make $400 on a flip here, $200 there, a couple of $50 flips. But you're talking over the course of a full year. Great. You made $2,000. You got beer money. It's more of a beer money.
Or to build your own collection money.
Yeah.
That's really the way I tell people to look at it. So if you can make $50-$100 a week, a month, something like that, to build on your own collection and buy the books that you really want for your collection, that's a solid win. And you should look at it that way. That's your opportunities to build on your collection. This week.
Even if you see something that you don't really want, but it's a good deal, grab it, flip it. That way you have more money to buy stuff you actually want.
Yes,
exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the way. That's the game. That's the way the game works right there. Okay, you don't collect Action Comics, but you found a really nice Action number 400, for $20 somewhere. Awesome. Buy it, figure out how to press some wrinkles out of it, put it up on eBay, get your $85-$100 for it, and you're good to go. Yeah. And you can go and buy those Strange Tales that you want, or you could go buy that, the Amazing Spider-Man 300 that you want.
Mm-hmm. So interestingly enough, I was watching, Alternate Comics. Peter Simeti's doing some different stuff on his channel lately, and one of them was how to press comics just with a home iron. And he was kind of showing it. When I get my comics and they're not in perfect shape, this is how I, kind of get them back in. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Exactly.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I probably spend about 4 to 5 hours a week pressing people's collections they bring in. I've got 3 presses. I've got one at home. I've got one digital press at home. We got two presses at the shop, and we be getting people's collections clean and press. As long as it's a book that's worth pressing. It's not I'm not gonna sit there and do that for $10 books. But if it's a $40, $50 comic, that could be an $80 to $100 comic. If I just take about 20, 25 minutes work, what the hell? Why not? That's money. It's money in the bank.
How much can you up the grade? Just with a good press and cleaning.
It depends on if it breaks color. If the creases break color, a press is really not going to do as much for you. But if you have like in the video that Peter Simeti was showing, if you have creases that do not break color, you can bump up from like a 7 to a 9.2 or 9.4.
So it's
I've personally cracked open slabs, like got a PGX Hulk 142. First Doc Sam 4 is a PGX. I don't even know why. I cracked the slab on it and I pressed it out, cleaned it up, resubmitted to CGC, came back in 8.5. So
that's a significant upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, went from a $35-$40 book to a $200 book. So
$170 for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's worth
that's
it.
That's some pretty good pay.
Yeah,
people go into the digital presses. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'll say digital press is about $130-$140, but if you want to do it the way that Peter does it, as far as just using an iron on a hard flat surface, you're not going to get as good of results with an iron.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he was showing, where you iron it and then press it with a lot of weight, what you want though is you want heat and pressure at the same time to really take the creases out and to improve the grade. But if you don't want to spend the $140 for a press, for a t-shirt press, is basically what it is. It's exactly what it is, a t-shirt press. If you don't want to spend that kind of money on a press, then $15 travel iron, you can get probably 75-80% of the results. So
you would suggest doing that like before pushing anything up for a grading?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you really need to, unless it's just like if it's an old comic that pressing is not going to help it very much. It's a 2.0 and, God himself couldn't make it look any better. There's no reason to do that really. But any other book that you're really looking at mid-grade to what you consider mid-grade to high grade, you're not going to hurt anything by pressing it or having it pressed and cleaned. That's a must do as far as I'm concerned for submissions.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't know pressing was a thing either until I watched it on Peter's channel. I was like, I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
Yeah, when I'm flipping, almost anything that I do is clean and press. Send it off for a clean and press. I don't press myself. I don't do it, and I honestly I don't even have the space at this point. But I'll send it off for a clean and press. I did that with, anytime I find a book that I'm going to flip, absolutely. If it's something that doesn't break color, I'll, if I can add 2 or 3 grades onto it, 2 or 3 jumps, absolutely. $10-15 to a local presser, because there's a couple of shops locally that'll do some basic cleaning and pressing for, I think it's $10, something like $10 a book.
Right.
Then yeah, sure, done and done. And because I don't currently have I let my CGC membership expire, and after they got rid of the 5 free and just went to a credit for the membership. So I'll submit through somebody else now.
Okay, so what's the CGC membership? What does that entail anyway? Does that just allow you to get your book? It
allows me to submit personally.
Okay, so you don't have to go through the
I don't have to go through a store. I don't have to go through anything. It just lets me submit as I want, when I want, at whatever tier I want, and be able to actually track its progress. Because if I submit through a store, then it's under their account. I got to go to that store and ask them to look it up to see where the status of, because CGC is notoriously fucking slow.
Right.
You can they say 20-day turnaround. Good luck getting it under 90. Yeah, you're looking at more like 90.
Yeah, you're looking at about 3 months if they say 20 days. The express service, that's because they want to sell the express service.
Yeah.
They want to sell that quicker turnaround. So if you pay the extra $10 per book, and you'll get it in 2 weeks instead of getting it in 3 months. So but you can submit without having the memberships, but you're going to pay a lot more per book. you're going to pay a lot more per book for the grading services. CBCS is a really good example of you can pay less. The membership there is, not as important. The grading is less expensive, and they're becoming a lot more respected as far as grading services. So,
well, isn't that the guy that used to run CGC that owns CBCS?
Beckett
Yeah.
Grading owns Beckett
Yeah.
Grading owns CBCS. So
But
they've been grading cards forever. So
no, but I'm thinking the guy that actually runs there was a guy that started CBCS that sold the Beckett, and I'm pretty sure it was the guy that originally ran CGC for a number of years. And I think he's still like the manager of CBCS. I can't remember his fucking name.
Now I figured out that CBCS is a lot more strict in their grading, I think, than CGC. So if you get a CBCS 9.4, then it's going to be a 9.4. It's going to be a near mint book. If you get a CGC 9.4, it might be realistically a 9.2. But and then if you go with PGX 9.4 could be a 5. It could be a 7, 5, 8, maybe.
It could be a 9.8. Who knows? Yeah, I don't trust PGX at all.
Yeah, I don't trust them as far as I throw their owner. I met him at a convention, and he's really pushing PGX because it's his company and everything. And it was right after the whole deal where they had actually graded and authenticated a bunch of counterfeit books.
Yeah,
a bunch of counterfeit comics. And I'm like, well, what's the deal with that?
Yeah,
he got really belligerent with me. So,
well, they've had a couple of weird things happen. They got busted with one of their graders actually as a flipper.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, and I think their head grader was selling books that were PGX books.
Yeah, he was actually selling customer books, and
or
what he would, or for the way I understand it, what he was doing is he was taking customer books and he was swapping his books for those. He's getting, this is a near mint plus book. Well, I'm going to swap my very fine plus for this book, and
that's dirty.
Thinking that the customer is not going to notice the difference. That's shady as shit. That is evil. It's theft.
Wow.
It's robbery.
Yeah, there's the comics business is never it's got a lot of dirty. It's got a lot of dirt to it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean there's been some shady stuff in the past. There's the whole thing Stan Lee, they stole Stan Lee's blood to use as ink for a comic book,
Yeah, that was really strange. They're making him sign his own signature in blood, and I saw some videos where he was signing books, and he looked like about to pass out. He was clearly in pain.
He looked like a sweatshop kid getting told "keep going" with somebody whipping him from behind.
That's
I saw a video and it broke my heart. As I'm watching Stan, look like he's virtually chained to the desk, and just one comic after the other, signing probably for an elder, 90-year-old man, 90-plus-year-old man, just sitting there signing 5-6 comics every couple minutes, and he's just, as soon as they get unsigned, they're flopping another one down in front of him. So I was like, God.
Yeah, you would hope that he's in his mansion, with all of his cool comic stuff and enjoying, everything that he built. And you're like, oh, he's being run through the ringer, so his little handler can make money off of him. It's really sad to see.
That's the reason why a lot of the CGC signature series books with Stan Lee, You know, I just see them and I'm like thinking, yo, there's human blood on their hands for this stuff.
Wow.
So, if not literally, figuratively, just whipping the horse until it just finally dies. Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't treat him like Weekend at Bernie's.
They probably would have if they could have gotten away with it. I mean, they did Weekend at Bernie's with him in Twitter this last week.
Yeah,
they were doing the Captain Marvel movie. Speaking of which, they're like tweeting from his official account. Hey, come and see Captain Marvel. And it's like, what is this? Some type of new necromancy? You've dug Stan up from the grave and gotten him to shill for your crazy feminist.
Yeah, that didn't go over very well with the fans. They got a lot of negative feedback on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first and only Stan Lee video I've ever seen that got ratioed.
Yeah.
So
there was, speaking of Twitter, might as well dive into it. So there was an editor from DC who, like, inexplicably just started like trashing fans. I think, Doctor, I think you might have even responded to this one.
Oh, it's quite explicitly. There's no inexplicably about it. Andy Corey is fucking cancer. He's another Comics Alliance asshole, like Sandwich Boy and David Brothers and Cheryl Eaton and fucking Heidi McDonald and all the rest of those goddamn cancer that came out of Comics Alliance that turned around and infected the whole fucking industry. So no, Andy Curry is a giant failure as an editor. His Vertigo line is a giant failure because it's basically a joke. He's putting into practice the bullshit that he was spouting when he was still at Comics Alliance. And well, we just see exactly how much of a gigantic commercial failure it is whenever they try it in practice. Fuck Andy Corey and, fuck everybody else from Comics Alliance too.
So yeah, I was looking at that and I was just, it encapsulated everything going on right now with Vertigo. You've got this douchebag, loudmouth, fucktard idiot that's going on there and just trashing fans. His books don't even sell 20,000 copies. He's out there talking like he's just some big wig hotshot asshole.
Well, actually, a lot of those Vertigo books are like under 8,000. Like Goddess Mode,
absolutely,
like 7,000. I don't. What was the one that got canceled? Border Town. That was definitely under 8,000. The only thing Vertigo that goes over, for any numbers, is the Neil Gaiman world stuff. Everything else has been absolute dog shit as far as sales, and quality, really.
Well, I mean, they hired a rapist, they hired a known rapist, for Border Town. So Esquivel. So
they hired a guy who literally showed his ass all over the internet for Goddess Mode. They hired a woman who had zero experience with comics for Goddess Mode.
Well, she also ran a scam. I think she scammed people out of $80,000, right? Video game.
Yeah. They hired a guy that, okay, congratulations. You were an art director for 9 Inch Nails. What do you know about sequential art?
Oh, is that Sheridan?
Yeah, that's Rob Sheridan.
Okay. That guy's a complete douchebag.
Yeah.
I was like, who the hell is this guy? And why is he talking shit to me?
Literally the only guy. I mean, they hired Richard Pace and
he's a thief.
Yeah, he's another thief too. Okay, they're protecting Mark Russell, fine. That's Dan Didio's fucking little pet Reiner that still hasn't sold anything.
Actually, Richard Pace was the cause of one of my favorite interactions ever with the creator. Who was it? It was Tim Seeley was saying something about Richard Pace. So I came back. I was like, didn't he screw like people out of like this much money? And then he 5 years later on his Kickstarter, he goes, "But the man can sure draw a cover, can he?" What? That's not what I was talking about. What the fuck? Is that what you have to tell yourself? Tim Seeley's one of the nicer guys that'll actually, he doesn't like Comic Skate or whatever, but he's normally not rude about it. Not like, you're so
Tim
full of
Seal-
shit.
Yeah, Tim Seeley's, he's relatively nice. He's engaging, but he's a fucking idiot.
Oh, that was enough for me. I was like,
And he's another one of those guys that literally has never sold anything in his life. He's a curtain jerker. I mean, I hate to break it to like most of the people in this industry these days. Okay, fine. You're on a big book, this and that. None of you have ever put an ass in a seat.
Exactly.
No, but Robert Kirkman. Okay, Kirkman can put an ass in a seat.
Absolutely.
But like Dan Slott has never put an ass in any seat. Okay, great. He's writing. He spent a decade on Spider-Man, and he is doing Fantastic Four and Iron Man now, but he's never put an ass in a seat.
Basically,
I'm sorry, Jason Aaron has never put an ass in a seat. He's a just to use like kind of wrestling parlance here, he's a mid-carder that every so often can hang out with a high carder and be interesting, but he's going back to that mid card immediately.
He's going back down to the minors immediately after.
Yeah.
Donnie Cates kind of seems to move books pretty well.
Donnie Cates actually puts asses in seats.
But he's a really good writer.
Yes.
He's a great writer.
Yeah, his Thanos, and then his what was it? Right now his Venom's really good. I like his Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, his Venom was really good.
Yeah.
Up till about 11, 12, and it's like, oh God, this is going off the rails. What the hell are you doing, Donnie?
It's kind of funny that as soon as he called out Comicsgate, his comic got worse. And I'm like, it was like within the same month.
Yeah.
Why don't you focus on what you're writing here instead of slinging shit at people? I mean,
I kind of felt bad for him though, because I felt like he was forced into it, because he was just saying, these shipper guys can eat my dick. I'll write whatever the fuck I want. And then, the Comics Gate, of course, came and was like, yeah, write what you want. You're writing great books. And then someone was like, this guy's a classic Comics Gator. And he had to come out, of course, and say, fuck Comics Gate. I don't like any of those guys.
And then a month later, the shippers came back to eat him again.
Yeah.
But this time, Comics Gate wasn't there to protect him.
Yeah. Well, what's bad is he pretty much is giving them what they want. The symbiote's acting like the overly attached girlfriend right now. Giving him false memories. So
I think that's part of it right now. He realized that he pissed off the audience that actually liked his story. So now he's like, well, maybe I can avoid and considering the fact that he's been attacked 2 months in a row by the same shippers, there's no reason for him to believe that he's not going to get attacked next month and the month after that and the month after that. So he writes to protect himself more than he writes to.
This is what I consistently tell people. The SJWs, once they hate you, they're always going to hate you. They're always going to come after you. They're always going to go for blood. If you try to make friends with Comicsgate type people, forgive and forget. Hey, yeah, we'll take, we understand you were under pressure.
Yeah, just don't be a douche.
Whatever. Don't be a dick, and everything would be great. But
at this point, I assume
other guys,
every one of the creators
alive.
Every one of the creators just hates Comicsgate, whether they say it or not. There's only a handful that I'm like, I think this guy's probably sympathetic. He probably sees all the dog shit going on, how their industry is being destroyed.
I'd say well over half of creators are Comicsgaters. They're just terrified to speak against the very loud, violent minority.
Well, if they spoke out, they would lose their dream job.
Yeah.
Yeah, many of them would.
Many of them would. Blackballed immediately. Look what happened to Ethan Van Sciver. He didn't even do anything until
John
after
Malin.
he was forced out. John Malin didn't. Yeah, he didn't do anything.
There are a lot of creators out there that don't have the spine I'm not even talking about when it comes to standing up for their beliefs or anything like that. They don't have the they're too insecure to actually do what a lot of the Comicsgate creators have done, which is say, you know what? Fine, you're going to push it like that. Fuck you. I'm going to go do my thing. They're scared to do it. They like the security of having a page rate, having a schedule for the next 6 months for what books they're going to do. And I understand that,
Plus, writing somebody's character kind of builds a legacy. You want to be the guy that you don't want to be the guy that didn't write Batman, right?
I don't know if it's necessarily. I mean, yeah, the legacy helps, but I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that they're a little scared to bet on themselves.
Oh yeah, there's guys that if they went and did their own thing, I would absolutely buy their stuff. I could care less.
You know how I think they should all act? They should all. The most professional person right now in comic books is probably Blake Northcott. She doesn't even acknowledge Comicsgate. She doesn't acknowledge anti. She's just nice to every one of her fans, and she gets a lot of good respect for that.
Yeah, she's actually really funny.
At the same time, she catches shit from the extremists on she's not a good ally. I've seen that numerous times of them talking about her. She's not a good ally, but
just like how they treat Peter.
Yep.
Yeah. She handles it really well, though. She acts kind of like she doesn't hear it most of the time.
She goes on. Every time that happens, she just goes on a Twitter hiatus and pretends like nothing happened. Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna go and sit on this beach here and be like a hot
drink margaritas.
Blonde. Yeah. She just like pretends it doesn't exist and just goes off of Twitter for like 3 days.
Because I read her book, the executive assistant Iris, and I was reading. I was like, "Holy shit, she's trashing Antifa here." So I took some screen pics, and put it on there. I was like, "Hey, Blake Northcott, send it to these guys." And she comes back, "Well, that's not Antifa. That's the whatever in Canada. I'm Canadian. I don't even know what you're talking about." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the black bloc.
Yeah, that's the black bloc.
Yeah.
Which is literally the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But it was great. She handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Blake.
If everybody acted like her, we would be way better off.
Well, Brian Hill's kind of the same way. I know that he and I philosophically we don't agree. Politically, we definitely don't agree. But even if as long as you're not an asshole to him, he's like, thanks for the feedback. Moving on.
Yeah, that's what kills me about creators like Bill Sienkiewicz, who, he is just the absolute worst ass cancer you could possibly fucking imagine on Twitter. He blasts fans, he blasts other creators, he is just the most venomous, nasty individual, and he stirs up the shit for the SJWs, for them to go attack other people. He's the one over here being the signal caller for who they're going to tear down next.
But he can afford to do that because he makes a lot of money still, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's one of those guys that gets heavy residuals.
Yeah. So he's like taking all these other dipshits who are trying to follow his lead, and they don't realize, he's not living in a studio.
But I love his work. I love his artwork. But it's like, oh man, I just, it kills me too that somebody that gifted, consistently gifted, is just such an asshole. But
yeah, I don't even really follow any creators on.
Just don't buy his stuff. Don't buy his new
YouTube
books
or on Twitter. It's no
fun
book.
Every time Bill Sienkiewicz opens his mouth, I said, "Don't you have your 90-year-old grandmother to clown on you?"
Yeah,
I mean, because the dude's been owned, like literally publicly owned by his 90-year-old aunt.
Yeah, for his attitude and his behavior.
What does he work on?
He does covers right now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a lot of freelance cover work
Yeah,
for
that's all I
whoever
ever
pays
see with
him.
him.
I think he was doing some Walking Dead variants for a while.
He did some Venom. He did some Venom variant covers. Really beautiful Venom annual #1. It was really well done painted cover. But yeah, cover. He's basically just a cover artist now,
You
like
know,
Adam Hughes or.
Busiek's also like a kind of a dickhead, in my opinion. So when they were doing these Marvel annotated like reprints of Marvels, I tweeted out, I was like, yeah, I'd like to buy this, but Busiek's such a jerk. And I actually had people come in like, that series is great. How could you not buy it? I was like, I'm not buying anything from that guy. Like, why would I buy anything from an asshole?
Yeah, it's like Mark Waid. I don't care if Mark Waid writes the most amazing Batman series ever fucking published. I am not buying from that douchebag.
No,
I don't care. I'm just not
stuff.
buying his stuff. It's
people like Amazing Spider-Man's great. It's like, I don't care. It's Nick Spencer.
I think Nick Spencer's a douchebag. I'm not going to buy
it. I have a line that he actually crossed. I'm not coming back.
Yeah. Like it's like Robbie Rodriguez. Oh, no, I'm not buying any of Robbie Rodriguez's stuff. He's an asshole bandit.
What's kind of weird is like Vertigo. Like, is it woke Vertigo or is it Neil Gaiman Vertigo? And I think Robert Venditti is producing like a Korean War graphic novel through Vertigo. I'm like, what the hell is this line anyway?
Nobody knows. That's the problem.
It doesn't even fit.
Nobody knows what Vertigo is because nobody cares what Vertigo is. Andy Curry just wants it as his own fiefdom.
Right.
That's what
so
it
it's
is.
like his own little mini kingdom inside of DC to do with what he pleases, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. To put all of the absurd Comics Alliance ideas into practice at a publisher.
Yeah, I don't get why Venditti would even be on that. That guy, everything he writes is non-political. He just writes good shit.
Probably because it doesn't fit under the
just a regular label.
Under the DC label. They basically already killed Black Label. It would have probably worked under the Wildstorm banner years ago, but when they killed that off at New 52, there was the end of that because it would have been probably worked perfectly as like a Wildstorm signature series book. But they don't have anywhere else to put it at this point.
That's another question. What is Black Label? Is it new?
It's supposed to be adult. It's supposed to be an adult, unfiltered adult comic series from
new
DC.
stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're like retroactively going back and they're like, well, White Knight is Black Label, which I don't mind. That's pretty recent. But now they're like going back and I'm seeing all these older stories released as Black Label. I'm like, aren't these just classics?
Yes.
Yeah, they're diluting. They're actually diluting the brand now.
The Battlewing one.
Yeah, that was
it was
the first one that they produced. But, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Are they just slapping the Black Label on it so they can get an extra purchase or for people that like that book?
I can't really tell. I can't tell if they're trying to make it into a prestige line or if they're trying to make it a mature line or what. Like, it was supposed to be a mature line going forward using
I don't think they know what they're doing
characters. With it. Yeah.
I want more stuff like that.
Yeah.
The one I wanted from Black Label, and I don't even know if it's still coming out, was the Three Jokers. That storyline.
That is.
The Scott Snyder one with Greg Capullo is definitely come out. They just released the artwork. That's the one where these Batman's got the little cage with the Joker head in it. Apparently he's been beheaded or something. But that's the only one that I know that they solicited.
Because the Three Jokers one, I want that because I've always trying to follow that one a lot. Like a lot of people didn't like Jared Leto as Joker, but he actually played a Joker that was in the comics. You know, that character goes all the way back to the 80s. That specific kind of Joker, not the tattoos, but how he acted. And, you know, that was supposed to be like, you know, that was the ultimate joke on Batman, is that he didn't know that there was 3 Jokers. And I hope they still come out with that.
Yeah, so there was like, I think there was 6 books, right? That they were supposed to come out with. There was like was it Frank Miller or Mark Miller, like Superman?
I think it was Frank Miller doing Superman with Adam Kubert, and then
I think there was a Kelly Sue DeConnick on
Kelly
Aquaman.
Sue. No, Kelly Sue's on the DCU Aquaman. She was supposed to do that Wonder Woman, where she looked like she had some fucking feathered headdress thing on. Let me see if I can find. They had done a promo piece of art for. Yeah, she's wearing. No, it looks like peacock feathered shawl. It looks so stupid.
All right, so we're coming up on 2 a.m. here in the Philippines. It's probably
yeah.
time to wrap. But we can discuss Black Label again next Saturday if it comes up. So let's just do some recommendations before we head out. Pele, what's your shop recommending this week?
Immortal Hulk number 13. Al Ewing's a douchebag, but it's a great series. The beautiful covers, great storyline. If you haven't bought it already, you're probably shit out of luck because the back issues are flying off shelves at way above cover price. But if you can find them, buy them. Get the series. It's really great read.
And this is the first one where he's like back to his normal Hulk self and not the emaciated version that's been in the book for like 5 months now, right?
Yeah. He's getting back to physical form, and there's a really interesting twist in this in number 13, in number 14. So definitely buy it.
Okay, there we go. That's Pele's recommendation. Doctor, you got a recommendation this week?
Yes, actually. X-Men from Volume 1, from the one that was the Jim Lee volume, starting at about issue 45 all the way up through about issue 60. It's the Road to and the Onslaught story from X-Men.
Excellent reads.
Yes.
So is there anything like super awesome? Is there a new character in there? Is it just a great story?
No, it was just a great story. It connected back. See, this is back when events weren't precipitated by something that happened last week for the event that starts next week. This was where they drew their inspiration from some plot point from 5 years ago. And they were a payoff to longtime readers.
Awesome. Is that in a specific collection?
It should be in the Road to Onslaught and then Onslaught. They're probably available in trade. It's going to have X-Men, the Adjectiveless series, and Uncanny X-Men, because it basically occurred over just those 2 series. But then there's also all the Onslaught Impact stuff. And I guess the Uncanny issues that are associated with it would have been starting at about issue 321. 322, right after the end of Age of Apocalypse. It starts already the slow build up, and it starts off, you hear the name Onslaught for the first time, and the Juggernaut got punched across the United States.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah,
he literally
got that one new.
Yeah, he got punched from somewhere in Canada and landed in New York.
And was not in great shape when he landed.
Nope. And I think the Onslaught story in X-Men in Uncanny X-Men lasted until about issue 337, which was the epilogue for Onslaught.
Sounds awesome.
So 322 to 327 or 337, but only about 5 or 6 months in Adjectiveless X-Men.
Okay.
If you liked what's going on in Adjectiveless, you'll definitely like what happened in Uncanny.
Great recommendation. So also in the chat, Starcager's recommendation is Chuck Dixon's Van Helsing series from Xenoscope. So Sam, what's your recommendation for this week?
Well, before I get to my recommendation, I need to ask you, is that Emily girl in the Philippines, is she really throwing up frogs?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
No, there's this lady in the Philippines that's on the news down there that's been vomiting up little frogs and bugs. And somehow she got like a hex put on her. I don't know if you heard about that or not. Since you're,
I have not heard about that specifically, but I have heard of people being possessed in hexes. The Philippines is mostly Catholic, but before that, they were very tribal, and they definitely believe in things of that nature.
I got the hoodoo, man.
I'll look into
it. It popped up on my YouTube this morning for some reason, and I was like, "What?" We have my recommendations would be Conan number 4, Red Sonja number 3, and Eclipse number 13. Eclipse is from Image Comics. I don't know if anybody's read it, but I've been keeping up with it. It's the Top Cow brand.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine it's like if you were in the sunlight, you'd be burned alive. So this mysterious solar event has transformed the sun's light into deadly emanating rays. The world's few survivors live in nocturnal cities, but a killer emerges who can survive in the sunlight, and he drags his victims out into the sunlight, and they die. And it's just a really cool comic. You know, it's like they're wearing like spacesuits outside to go and patch the walls and make sure no sunlight gets in.
Sounds pretty cool. So if you're enjoying the Conan the Barbarian series, I will definitely recommend to you the Savage Sword of Conan if you aren't reading that. I think it's even better and the art's even better.
Is it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think I've read that one. And then,
it's had 2 issues right now. It's a 5-part miniseries. Ron Garney's the artist. It's amazing.
Wow. And then I'm not sure if this one's worth picking up or not. I think I'm going to read it online first. The Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History. I don't know
actually heard
on that. Remember they had something about 3 months ago to how they was going to change everybody's origin story. You know, somebody had something. I wonder if this is the first part of that.
I believe it is.
Yeah, I'm going to read it online first. Because it's cringe. I like Cosmic Ghost Rider, but I don't like them messing with people's origin stories.
Right.
Yeah, I've actually heard some good stuff about that, but I haven't read it myself yet. So this week, I have 2 recommendations. Killmonger number 5 from Brian Hill just came out. Was a excellent 5-part.
Well, I'm on my phone and it's ringing.
Nice.
That's Claptrap, by the way.
So I'm here. So my recommendation is going to be Killmonger number 5. It's the 5th part of a 5-part miniseries from Brian Hill, from the Eric Killmonger character from the Black Panther movie, which was a pretty good movie, but the series is much better. Tons of revenge in this last issue, and it was a great wrap up to the story. And then my second recommendation is going to be Gaia number 4 from Image Comics. It's like a fantasy realm series where it's some as kids, these 6 individuals got sucked into like a Dungeons and Dragons game, and they're returning as adults because they left one guy behind, and they're returning. And it's written by Kieran Gillen. It's pretty good, but the artist is Stephanie Hans, and she is absolutely amazing. If you haven't read any books with her art in it, I will highly recommend it. It's some of the best art in the out in comics today.
I really enjoyed reading Die.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
One of my diamonds in the rough. You wouldn't know about it because they don't market the book, but it's amazing.
It's actually hitting hitting the speculating market pretty hard right now. The Virgin variants for number one are going for well over $50 now, and even the regular number one cover A is selling for $10 to $15. So
Awesome. I have it.
good books.
Yeah, it's excellent. Had no idea what it was. Went and read the first one. I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting. And every week it gets better and better. And they just Gillen's doing a really good job of just adding layers and layers to the universe. It's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend it. So that pretty much wraps up the show. We talked a bit about our favorite events. We went into some buying on a budget. Pele and Doctor, they went more into grading and kind of doing things like that. And we got our recommendations in. So it gets time to wrap it up, and I'll send it over to Sam. Thanks for joining us. This is the first time. And do you have anything you want to say before we head out?
I'm pretty good. I'm gonna go get me some lunch. It's 1 o'clock here. Yeah, appreciate y'all having me on.
Yep.
No problem, dude.
Today's Old Comic Book Day, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna go hit. I'm going down to the Salvation Army after this. Wish me luck.
Hit 'em. Hit it early, hit it often.
All right, I'll put something up this evening.
So next we'll say, hey, Doctor, you got anything to say before we head out?
Nope. Buy old comics.
That's where it's
Support your
at.
local comic shop.
Absolutely. The back order bins is where it's at. And Pele, you got anything you want to say before we head out?
Yep, put the work in and look at the dollar bins, 50-cent quarter bins. That's the way to build a collection. That's the way to get what you want. It's that, you can pay big bucks for books, but if you're smart, then you can get away with a lot less.
All right, sounds good. Great show. Really appreciate having on you guys, and Salamat Po.
All right. Thanks, Wes.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good week.